States Marshals.
Let me try again.
Has
the Department of Justice brought even a single case under this statute? It's a yes/no question. It's not a give a speech on the other things you did.
The job of the United States Marshals is to defend the lives.
So the answer is no.
Is to defend the lives of the justices, and that's their number one priority. They have.
Why are you unwilling to say no? The answer is no. You know it's no. I know it's no. Everyone in this hearing room knows it's no. You're not willing to answer a question. Have you brought a case under this statute? Yes or no?
Të nderuar miq, mirëmbrëma. Në Fokus do të merrem më shumë me hearing Senat. Komisioni juridik mori prokurorin e përgjithshëm, që është dhe kreu i Departamentit të Drejtësisë Garland, për të parë stilin, edukatën, kulturën politike se si zhvillohet një dëgjes hearing në SBA. Më të ashpërit ishin Ted Cruz, por dhe senatori Grassley i Iovës, të cilin e kam takuar kur unë kam qenë në shkollë në Iowa në 93-shin, dhe që atëherë ai është një nga senatorët më në zë të republikanëve. Në fakt është keq interpretuar në Shqipëri pyetjen që ai ka bërë në mënyrë hipotetike ndaj sekretarit drejtësisë, nuk është për McGonigal, bota nuk rrotullohet rreth nesh dhe McGonigal, por teknikisht një foreign agent, pra një agent i huaj për një qeveri të huaj, një lobist, përdor paratë e huaja për të paguar një politikan, dikë të zgjedhur dhe ndikimin që ka në politikën amerikane dhe sipas prokurorit përgjithshëm është cënim i interesave të sigurisë kombëtare.
If the Justice Department received information that foreign persons had evidence of improper or unlawful financial payment paid to elected officials or other politically exposed persons, and those payments may have influenced policy decisions, would that pose a national security concern and demand a full investigation? And when Ray was here, he seemed to answer that question that it was a national security concern. I want your opinion.
In the way that if I follow the question exactly right, if it's an agent of a foreign government asking someone and paying someone to do things to support that foreign government in secret, yes, I definitely think that would be a national security problem.
Në fakt, dy senator kishin shkruar një letër për sekretarin e Departamentit të Drejtësisë për lidhjet e ruse të McGonigal dhe çfarë ndikimi do të ketë në ristrukturimin apo sa thellë ka shkuar FBI dhe Departamenti i Drejtësisë për të parë lidhjet ruse me të. Natyrisht hearingi ishte i gjatë, 4 orë, unë kam ndjekur të gjithë dhe nuk u përmend me emër në asnjë fragment, por pyetjet mund dërgohen me shkrim dhe sekretari mund të përgjigjet me shkrim. Hetimet vazhdojnë. Gjyqi u shty me afat të pacaktuar në Washington, çka do të thotë që priten evidenca, fakte të reja. Po, Rama ka qenë, është dhe do të jetë në tim. Sa për profesorët e mëdhenj të jurisprudencës shqiptare, që nuk ka akt akuz, Rama është kryeministër, ka imunitet diplomatik, nuk është shtetas amerikan, dhe për çastin për momentin nuk ka akuz dhe s'ka si të ketë, duhet dorëzoj imunitetin, të bëhet i afrushëm për drejtsinë amerikane dhe le ta provoj.
And the lives
so the answer is no.
Is to defend the lives of the justices, and that's their number one priority. They have.
Why are you unwilling to say no? The answer is no. You know it's no. I know it's no. Everyone in this hearing room knows it's no. You're not willing to answer a question. Have you brought a case under this statute? Yes or no?
Ka shpëtuar herën e parë në gjyqin me foton e Obamës. Në gjyq ka qenë thjesht personi A. Këtë radhë, personi A është një oficer i sigurimit. Nuk mund të jetë, po mund të jetë D-ja, C-ja, sepse kur gjyqi nis, nuk dihet se sa thellë shkon. Sa për mbrojtjen amatoreske që bëhet nga deputetët dhe ushtarët e tij, që nuk ka akuz, është thënë në akt akuz se McGonigal ka kryer hetime të paligjshme ndaj një lobisti për llogari të Ramës dhe informacioni ka ardhur me informator A dhe nisjen nga zyra e Ramës, fuga ose Rama vet. Rama dhe fuga këtë e di, sepse në shtator janë pyetur për një revistë amerikane dhe ka thënë që kryeministri e ka vetëm mik. Në mbrojtjen që Rama u urvat të bënte, thotë se e kam ftuar unë në Shqipëri, më ka ftuar ai në New York. E para punës tregov ftesën, sepse ka protokoll. Shefi i përgjimeve të New Yorkut nuk është nga zyrat qendrore të FBI-t që mund të vinë në Shqipëri. Aq më tepër sipas akt akuzës, në të gjitha vizitat që ka qenë, edhe kur ka qenë postin e FBI-t kanë qenë private. Nuk ka njoftuar edhe për drekat dhe darkat që ka bërë me Ramën, ka qenë detyrim ligjor të deklaroj kur takon një të huaj. Pra, kanë qenë interesa privat. Unë e di që Rama i ka kërkuar që të ngrej një institucion kundra korrupsionit dhe ka ndërhyrë me Ganigal për të vënë dikë që ta njinin të dy. Por FBI e ka ndaluar me Ganigal që të vazhdonte me këtë proces, sepse ishte i paligjshëm. Ja një shkelje tjetër e Ramës. Dhe nuk janë thjesht takimet, po favoret për puset e naftës, natyrisht që me këtë duhet merret spaku ynë, nuk është problemi amerikanëve. Sa për mbrojtjen qesharake të dikujt që ka një mbiemër qesharak në departamentin e shtetit që nuk janë prishur marrëdhëniet me Shqipërinë, me qeverinë, dhe se departamenti i shtetit nuk ka asnjë lidhje me hetimet e FBI-t, do t'i thoja përgjigjen përmes sekretarit departamentit drejtësisë, i cili kur u pyet në hearing për organizatat terroriste si mund t'i bëjmë, ai tha, kjo na vjen nga departamenti amerikan i shtetit. Pra ka shumë lidhje, ka shumë ndërlidhje. Edhe vetë non grata që Escobar dhe shefat e tij kanë përpiluar, pa diskutim bëhen me ndërveprim ndëragjencish, inteligjencë, FBI, burime nga media, dhe është një zyrë e investigimeve për trafiqe, për drogë, për pastrim parash, që kanë lidhje të shumta me FBI-n. Edhe pse Escobar mund mos i di. Janë 25.000 vetë që punojnë në departamentin amerikan të shtetit, natyrisht Escobar nuk ka si di detyrat e të gjithëve, ndërkohë që janë 150.000 të departamentit drejtësisë. Janë të lidhura me njëra tjetrën pa diskutim. Fakti që Rama thotë që dikush tjetër do të bëhet nën grada, kërkon të tregojë se ka akses. Por me Ganigal nuk është më.
Let me start with a simple question. General Garland, is it a federal crime to protest outside of a judge's home with the intent of influencing that judge as to a pending case?
The answer to that is yes, but I also want to at least respond to your characterization of the department, which
Sure.
I vigorously disagree with. I believe the men and women of the department pursue their work every single day in a nonpartisan and appropriate
General
way.
Garland, there are thousands of men and women who do that. And I'll tell you, I hear from prosecutors at the Department of Justice, I hear from agents at the FBI who are angry that it is treated as the enforcement arm for the DNC instead of upholding the law in a fair and even-handed manner. So you are right. There are thousands of men and women that are doing the job, but it is the political leadership that you're responsible for. So you just said, yes, it's a crime to protest at the home of a judge. Same goes for jurors, by the way, with the intent of influencing a case. But in the wake of the leak of the Dobbs decision, when rioters descended on the homes of 6 Supreme Court justices, night after night after night, you did nothing. The department did nothing. When extremist groups like Ruth Sent Us and Jane's Revenge openly organized campaigns of harassment at the homes of justices, you sat on your hands. when these same groups posted online information about where the justices worship, or their home addresses, or where their kids went to school, you again sat on your hands and did nothing. Your failure to act to protect the safety of the justices and their families was an obvious product of political bias. You agree with Roe versus Wade, you disagree with the Dobbs decision, and the Department of Justice under this president was perfectly happy to refuse to enforce the law and allow threats of violence. And as you know, those threats finally materialized with Nicholas Roski, a 26-year-old man from California who traveled across the country, was arrested outside the home of Justice Kavanaugh, armed with a handgun, a knife, and burglary tools. And he said he came there to kill Justice Kavanaugh because he was enraged by the leaked opinion. Now, of course, you're prosecuting that individual for attempted murder, but did you bring even a single case to enforce this law, or did the Department of Justice decide this law doesn't apply if it's harassing justices for an opinion we don't like?
When the Dobbs draft was leaked, I did something no Attorney General in the history of the department had ever done before. For the first time in history, I ordered United States Marshals 24/7 to defend every residence of every justice.
Well, Garland, as a judge, you're familiar with asking counsel
I'm
to answer a question.
I am answering.
Has the Department of Justice enforced this statute? Have you brought a single case against any of these protesters threatening the justices under 18 U.S.C. Section 1507? Have you brought even one?
Senator, you asked me whether I sat on my hands, and quite the opposite. I sent 70 United States Marshals.
Let me try again.
To defend. And
has the Department of Justice brought even a single case under this statute? It's a yes/no question. It's not a give a speech on the other things you did.
The job of the United States Marshals is to defend the lives.
So the answer is no.
Is to defend the lives of the justices. And that's our number one priority. They have.
Why are you unwilling to say no? The answer is no. You know it's no. I know it's no. Everyone in this hearing room knows it's no. You're not willing to answer a question. Have you brought a case under this statute? Yes or no?
As far as I know, we.
I'm going to set up a hypothetical fact pattern for you and ask you to tell me how you would handle it. The Justice Department and FBI receive information from over a dozen sources. That's the first one. Second, those sources provide similar information about potential criminal conduct relating to a single individual. And third, that information was shared with the Department and FBI over a period of years. According to department policy and procedures, what steps would the department take to determine the truth and accuracy of the information provided by those sources?
I'm sorry, these are whistleblowers, so they're internal sources? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter where that comes from. Just the fact that I want to know you got that information. How would you go about handling it?
Yeah. So reports of wrongdoing are normally reported to whatever the appropriate department component is. It might be U.S. Attorney's offices in the district in which it allegedly took place. It might be directly to FBI components and to FBI task forces. In cases involving whistleblowers, of course, there are specific provisions for making complaints to the Inspector General's office or the Office of Professional Responsibility or the Inspections Division of the FBI.
Recent lawfully protected whistleblower disclosures to my office indicate that the Justice Department and the FBI had at one time over a dozen sources that provided potentially criminal information relating to Hunter Biden. The alleged volume and similarity of the information would demand that the Justice Department investigate the truth and accuracy of the information. Accordingly, what steps has the Justice Department taken to determine the truth and accuracy of information provided? Congress and the American people, I think, have a right to know.
So as the committee well knows from my confirmation hearing, I promised to leave the matter of Hunter Biden in the hands of the U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, who was appointed in the previous administration. So any information like that should have gone, or should have gone to that U.S. Attorney's offices and the FBI squad that's working with him. I have pledged not to interfere with that investigation, and I have carried through on my pledge.
Isolated from political interference, as you've publicly proclaimed. If the Justice Department received information that foreign persons had evidence of improper or unlawful financial payment paid to elected officials or other politically exposed persons, and those payments may have influenced policy decisions, would that pose a national security concern and demand a full investigation? And when Ray was here, he seemed to answer that question that it was a national security concern. I want your opinion.
In the way that if I follow the question exactly right, if it's an agent of a foreign government asking someone and paying someone to do things to support that foreign government in secret, yes, I definitely think that would be a national security problem.
In April 2022, you testified to Senator Hagerty that the Hunter Biden investigation was insulated from political interference because it was assigned to, as you just now told me, to the Delaware Attorney's Office. However, that could be misleading because without special counsel authority, he could need permission of another U.S. attorney in certain circumstances to bring charges outside the District of Delaware. I'd like clarification from you with respect to these concerns.
The U.S. Attorney in Delaware has been advised that he has full authority to make those kind of referrals that you're talking about, or to bring cases in other jurisdictions if he feels it's necessary. And I will assure that if he does, he will be able to do that.
Does the Delaware U.S. Attorney lack independent charging authority over certain criminal allegations against the president's son outside of the District of Delaware?
He would have to bring, if it's in another district, he would have to bring the case in another district. But as I said, I have promised to ensure that he's able to carry out his investigation and that he be able to run it. And if he needs to bring it in another jurisdiction, he will have full authority to do that.
If you provided the Delaware U.S. Attorney with special counsel authority, isn't it true that he wouldn't need permission of another U.S. Attorney to bring charges?
It's a kind of a complicated question. If under the regulations, that kind of act, he would have to bring to me, to the Attorney General under the regulations. Those kind of charging decisions would have to be brought. I would then have to, authorize it and permit it to be brought in another jurisdiction. And that is exactly what I promised to do here already. That if he needs to bring a case in another jurisdiction, he will have my full authority to do that.
Padicën ndaj tij. Jo, është e papërshtatshme. Sipas padis, McGonigal përdori Nezën si dëshmitar kryesor. Kjo është tërësisht e paligjshme.
As a key witness in the investigation, that's completely improper. You can't be accepting payments from someone who
Ti nuk mund të pranosh pagesën nga dikush që mund të përfitojë nga hetimi që ti po nis. Ti nuk mund të mos tregosh lidhjet me personat që përfitojnë. Kjo është tërësisht e korruptuar. Sipas akuzave, është një goditje e madhe, një sy në zyrë për FBI. Padia merret shumë me oligarkun rus, por puna lidhur me Shqipërinë, kur ai ishte në FBI, kjo është më e keqja. Ky është një skandal i madh, turpërues për FBI-n dhe agjencitë amerikane jetuese në përgjithësi. Kur ne flasim këtu për korrupsionin, për në vendet e tjera, ne dukemi të turpëruar nga ky korrupsion i një zyrtari të lartë FBI. A mund të shpjegosh se si funksionon juria e madhe? Është një akt pa di me 7 ose 8 faqe dhe kryeministri shqiptar përmendet 6 ose 7 herë. A mendon se janë ndaluar hetimet ndaj tij apo vazhdojnë? Hetimet vazhdojnë. Ai është akuzuar tani. Do të kemi një çështje në gjyq.
court case, and either there'll be a settlement in the case, or he'll
Ose
go
do
to
të ketë
trial. And
marrëveshje,
that is helpful for
ose do të kemi gjyq.
people like us and
Kjo na
journalism,
ndihmon ne
because a lot
gazetarëve
of information will
se do
come out.
dalin shumë
His
informacione.
defense will be able to get information and get release information.
Mbrojtja e tij do nxjerrë informacione në favorin e tij.
And so I hope that
Shpresojmë
we will
se do
learn a lot
mësojmë
more
shumë.
about what was going on, including related to his activities in Albania.
Thuhet personi A, personi B dhe kryeministri shqiptar. A kanë qenë në hetim të tre? A-ja dhe B-ja nuk janë nevojshmërisht objekt i hetimeve,
It would indicate that they are
por mund të ngrihen më
they
vonë
are not
akt pa
necessarily
di
targets of the
dhe akuza ndaj
investigation, which
tyre.
is a legal term meaning that they might be charged, but they are involved in they are witnesses, or
Janë
they are
dëshmitar
people whose activities are
dhe
part of the
pjesë e hetimeve.
investigation.
Hetimi përfshin Ramën
Obviously the investigation
se akt pa
involves
dia
Prime Minister
përmend
Rama's
takimet që McGonigal
indictment
ka
talks
pasur
about
me
meetings
atë
that
dhe
McGonigal
ndërhyrjet
had
që ai
with
ka
him,
bërë në favor të
and
Ramës.
interactions where he appeared to be doing something that was in Rama's favor. But we don't
Nuk
know
e
to
dim
what extent
se sa e
they
thellë
really looked into
ka qenë vëzhgimi i FBI-t ndaj Ramës. Diçka përtrej lidhjeve që Rama bënte me McGonigal. Nga imuniteti diplomatik duhet të kenë qenë më të kujdesshëm që ta zgjeronin mandatin e tyre ndaj tij. A mund ta thrasin si dëshmitar në gjyq? Mund ta thrasin, por ai mund të ketë dhe imunitet diplomatik, mund të thotë se për arsye diplomatike nuk do të marrë pjesë.
I'm not going to participate in this, and that's usually
Dhe gjyqtari mund ta përjashtojë si dëshmitar. A është normale që një kryeministër në një vendi të vogël thotë se kam një mik të madh i zyrtar të FBI. Nuk besoj se kjo ka ndodhur me kryeministra të tjerë, apo jo? Jo. Nuk di rast tillë.
With due respect to Prime Minister Rama, it stinks.
Kjo qelbet erë. Vjen erë si diçka më shumë. Po ngjet diçka më tepër se nga ajo që thuhet në akt pa di. Merr shumë vëmendje këtu në SBA, por edhe në Shqipëri.
Separate case out of Washington, can you open a criminal case as a favor for this Albanian intelligence officer? And then just from my own background, understanding the compartmentalization that had to go on to investigate the highest ranking counterintelligence official in the largest FBI field office in the nation. Yet that's why you're seeing cases out of Washington, cases out of New York, case being worked entirely out of Los Angeles because they were trying to find people who didn't know Charlie and wouldn't get it back to him that he's under suspicion. What a mess, what a blow to the FBI and a punch in the gut for many of us who worked alongside Charlie. Crime in his career, I'm shocked. I'm surprised, and everyone I've talked to today in our group has absolutely expressed the same shock. What's got me really wondering here is after Bob Hansen and that horrible betrayal, the FBI instituted rigorous security measures to try and prevent this kind of thing from ever happening again. I mean, rigorous measures, financial analysis of everybody's finances, disclosures required, all kinds of things, monitoring the computer systems, who's looking where they shouldn't look. Somehow this evaded detection. And I think when you're talking about somebody at a senior executive level who's supposed to be looking at counterintelligence cases, who's supposed to be directing the opening of cases, it becomes even more difficult to detect that something is amiss here. So I'm eager to see where the gap